the how companies are using it and ideas for businesses, small or large, to leverage the Web3 platforms for themselves. So we're going to hit the first news event. Mike, Michelle, we good to jump in? Anything you guys want to hit?
2 feet.
No, you go.
All right. So one of my favorite stories here is the Bob Iger has come back to Walt Disney. For those who don't know, Bob Iger was the former CEO for 15 years of Disney, left. They're bringing Bob Chapek. He's kind of a penny pincher, bean counter, raises the pricing, alienates a lot of the business. Long story short, they bring back Bob Iger. I don't really care about the drama as much as the fact that in those ensuing time when Iger was out, he was at a metaverse company. He totally gets the concept of Web3. So he's all about the possibilities for Disney. And as we've discussed on this platform, it's the gaming and media companies that tend to be leading this. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts before I lead the witnesses here. What do you guys think about this news item?
Well,
Michelle,
Bob's
please.
back and he's got $14 billion to spend. So, I think that it's an interesting thing. I mean, look, we've talked before on other podcasts, haven't we, that we've done here about Disney and the potential and the content that they have and where they can take it and what they can do with it. I mean, essentially, it's endless, let's be honest. And to have someone come back now who actually understands and gets it, I mean, I think that they will become a powerhouse and they're going to be pretty unstoppable.
Mike?
Yep, I agree. I don't want to necessarily jump the gun and say that this is going to be a bad thing for the industry because I don't believe that. I do think Disney was on a colossal downward spiral, and maybe this is just a method to try to pivot that and make the stockholders happy again and make the company worthwhile again. But Michelle, to your point, there are a tremendous amount of assets that they can digitize and make accessible using blockchain technology, using the metaverse capabilities to access those channels, make it engaging, make it fun, make it unique, make it entertainment with gaming, maybe a game within a movie. All of these are now possibilities that are now at the on the table with the technology. So look, it's there. They have the budget for it. They clearly have the understanding behind it. Are they going to execute it? I guess we'll wait and see.
So as we all know, so far Disney's done nothing but try to issue quick money grabs for the Web3, right? That's the music and some digital collectibles that were really nothing more than buy it with no utility value other than they make a buck. Does that change? I don't think Chapek was driving that. I think that was just momentum.
Well, how many princess movies are the same? They're all the same. It's all.
I think you're talking to Michelle right now.
Girl meets boy. Boy and girl have a fight. They break up. Something horrible happens. Boy comes in and saves the day, and they ride off into the sunset together. That kind of
it's a tale
story.
As old as time, which I think is a Disney quote.
Girl issues NFT.
Yeah, it's definitely nothing new in their business model. Look, it's a revenue source for them. That's the way they're looking at it from a business perspective. I don't see anything wrong with that, but I think they do need to pivot and make sure that it is something that can capture the attention of people who are willing to make that additional investment into their particular programming.
So we've got some new joiners. Elena King, thanks for joining us. We're talking about Walt Disney. Their former CEO is back in now, Bob Iger, and he's very familiar with the Web3 platforms. He's been involved in metaverse companies directly, board of directors. I think that Disney starts to make a stronger move into it, my own opinion. But I do still believe they'll continue with the short-term money grabs, no long-term utilitarian value in the NFTs at first. This is just my opinion. But for argument's sake, what we saw with Tough Mudder or like Spartan races, 3 years of entry, that's a value add. I don't know that Disney gets there yet. What do you guys think?
No, but if they have an asset like a princess and you get a photo with that princess at the park, maybe that's a utility that they could start with.
And it becomes an NFT.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Going on to story number 2. NFTs coming to PlayStation. For those who don't know, new documentation shows PlayStation has applied to Sony for patents in tracking digital assets in the games. So they want to use blockchain technology for stats tracking on the gaming platform. That's interesting. Mike, what do you think about that one? I know this is closer to your world right now, and we'll explore
Well,
that.
they already have some sort of an integration with Discord, right? So, the whole ability to play online and interact with people online has really exploded in the video game market, right? Over the past 15 years plus. It's no longer, hey, I'm playing against the guy who has bad internet, I don't think I could play him. It's almost expected that you play online at this point. So now you're creating this competitive environment where people can interact with each other while they're playing, using channels like voice, using channels like Discord where they can communicate. And now you're introducing the ability to tally their scores on a platform that could be recorded as well. John Briggs and I, we play golf every morning in VR. We play a round of golf. You laugh, but honestly, it's amazing. It's
I bet.
legit. Like, we play legit courses. We talk business for 18 holes, and our stats are actually accumulated within a Discord channel. So I can go in and I can see how many bogeys I have, which are a lot.
Who normally wins?
There's 7 courses, and we go back and forth on who owns the courses. But there was a stretch where I won 30 or so in a row, and lately he's just had my number. But the point is that, like, all of these are different tools that are now very similar to the encryption on the blockchain, and using certain different elements of technology to help enhance the gaming experience.
Interesting. All right. So we've got Disney, we've got Sony. It turns out McDonald's is doing stuff in the metaverse.
Oh, hang on, wait.
Yeah, I was going to say, what does Michelle have to say about this?
I'm sorry.
So 2 things, I think. One was, I think we talked about this last week or the week before about Xbox, about Microsoft and Minecraft and them pulling back from it. And when I was reading the story that we looked at before we came on air tonight, my first thought was beta versus VHS. So this is a Sony versus Microsoft debate. And even though Microsoft have partnered with Polygon in the past, or they've announced that that's what they're going to be using, the fact that they pulled Minecraft back from the use of NFTs within it, and Sony appeared to be going, or Sony, how do you say it, going all in, it reminded me of when beta and VHS tapes came out back in the day, in the 80s, for those of us that have been alive that long. And there was a real struggle for a few years about who was going to win. And it's kind of a little bit also like Kodak going, why would people want to have a digital camera and have digital photos? We're into film and everyone's always going to have film. And then look what happened to them there. So, yeah, so I think that is a watch this space.
That's an interesting point, Michelle, about it's not always the best tech that wins. That was the lesson from those things.
I think it's a really cool opportunity. Like, speaking about the whole beta VHS and then Microsoft and Sony, maybe I'm mispronouncing it too, but the ability to do, and again, segueing it back to really the whole point of these types of conversations on the business front, it's a very unique opportunity to conduct some B2B collaboration efforts using the NFTs as the nucleus, right? There are similar games that are launched on both platforms, right? You have Madden, for example. It's on Xbox and it's on PlayStation. But what if you can combine those communities, the Xbox community and the PlayStation community, using the common link of the NFT? Now you're talking about shared traffic amongst the 2 platforms, which potentially could lead to, additional revenue streams, additional asset resources that could be purchased over time.
Which has me thinking about Sony working with Marvel, having Spider-Man in the Avengers movies. That's a good point, Mike. I never dawned on me to cross-pollinate the platform. The platforms basically become agnostic at that point.
Correct.
That's right.
We spoke about this, I think, several episodes ago with Coke and Pepsi, right? If Coke and Pepsi decided to collaborate and create an NFT, and they basically had a tug of war with their targeted audiences, they're going to use that platform congruently together, the same exact marketing platform, to target both of their respective audiences in an effort to potentially pull some people on the other side of that rope. It's a brilliant opportunity.
Which opens the concept of companies no longer own their communities. Because the communities own the company. It's really the other way around now.
Which is, again, speaking from a high-level executive position, It's kind of an attitude you have to start understanding with adoption of the technology into your marketing plans.
This is a tough pill to swallow for those big firms, don't you think?
100%. And I think that's one of the biggest
Yep.
barriers to entry on why they've resisted so far.
Michelle, I'm curious your opinion, because this is your world. What do you think gets these companies over that hump? How do they start to recognize that they could, like right now, I find it hard to believe they would want to share a platform with a competitor.
Well, I mean, I think that they'll start to see, companies like Disney make lots of money from it and pivot towards the new, we've talked about the internet revolution before, haven't we? And I think that it'll be a money talks thing that they'll notice. It'll start to increase, and then they'll realize that the train's running. Unless they jump on it, they're going to be left at the stop,
I'm going to connect this to our next story and then tie it back to your point, Mike, because you got me thinking of something here. So McDonald's is now they're applying for NFT and virtual trademarks. McDonald's, the food company. So you can basically, in their world, hopefully one day, order McDonald's in the metaverse and it shows up at your door IRL, right? That's the concept. But to your point, Mike, that would mean it's much like DoorDash, like the platform of NFT, whatever it may end up being. McDonald's and Burger King will both be on it. They'll both they'll have different communities, obviously, but in the same place, in the same environment. That doesn't exist right now because a DoorDash is just a service. It's not a platform.
Correct. Wendy's threw something in there where, they had restaurants where people were making like virtual burgers, and they were actually paying people to flip burgers and make fries within their metaverse. And you sit there and you ask yourself, like, what's the purpose of that? It's all research, right? We're researching the potential that this could potentially be something. You're in that metaverse. You're clearly in VR, which means you're not in the real world, but you're hungry. You have the ability to order something right then and there, where the order then goes to something like a DoorDash. It ends up at your door in 20 minutes. It's a marketing tool. It's seeding out this type of environment. Now, it's not everybody has an Oculus or a VR set, and they're not really using it to go to Wendy's.
No.
But I think that over time, we're going to start seeing a lot of these, V3 or Web3 versions of an e-commerce solution in place. You can go and you can visit a Nike store in the metaverse. You can make your purchase of sneakers and they'll show up at your door through whatever channel over the next couple days, couple weeks. These are very real possibilities on where this is ending up.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see more and more of these. Go ahead, Michelle.
No, sorry, I interrupted you. I know a whole group of late teens, early 20-somethings who think that it's a waste of time to have to go and eat when you're playing your game. So if you could go in and order your McDonald's and have it delivered without actually missing a beat in the game. When I was reading the story, I thought to myself, well, God, this is just such a gimmick. But it's kind of cool when you think about it, isn't it? If you see, I wouldn't go to McDonald's, but imagine your favorite Italian restaurant or something and going in there and sitting down and ordering something to eat, and then it turns up at your door. Like, that would be very cool.
So I'm a big fan of the way that we circle back and we link all these stories together in these conversations, right? Think about exactly what we just talked about with PlayStation. Think about the sponsorship opportunity that awards PlayStation by utilizing that NFT. Think about the way Google can incorporate some of the local stores to target people based on their IP address and say, hey, you've been playing this game for the past 16 hours. You might want a burger and some fries to keep you going.
Are you thirsty?
Yeah. Here's Jim's ad, right? Jim's burger joint ad. These are very real possibilities on where all this ends up.
I'm reading a news story from February of 2011. Chinese online gamer dies after 3-day session.
Oh, yes.
So they're actually,
I remember that.
I don't think this is a real big market need, but there are people who play games for days on end. And Mike, you're right. That's a market right there.
Yeah. And it's a marketing opportunity, right? Again, we're talking about utilizing these tools as a business. Well, this tool for Jim's burger joint is now exponentially more valuable because you're seeding people that don't have to get off their ass to go to your place. you literally link up with a delivery service that they're already accustomed to and seeding into their world, which is virtual.
Which opens up the world of networking together, the local burger joints as the delivery service.
Correct.
Uber Eats.
And also think about it, you know, like if they do know that you've played for 5 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours straight, then, you know, some little guy in a hat comes along carrying a hot, you know, with a hot dog stand or whatever and says, "Are you hungry? Would you like something?" You know, like it's like that. It's like ad placement in sitcoms and in dramas and TV shows where the person, you know, drinks a Coke or whatever, having the label out so that everybody can see that they're drinking a Coke, or if canned foods are in cupboards on the shelves and stuff when people open them in their kitchen. It's going to be like that.
It's the next evolution of targeted marketing. I mean, we saw this with Facebook. You like something, you're a part of a group. We want to target our ad, our business to those types of people.
Bringing Joseph up on screen, please. Joseph, ask your question, my friend.
Welcome. I don't have a question. I actually want to put a statement out there. I think target marketing with technology is the next big thing. I agree, definitely 100%. Because with branding and psychology, you'll see people have a cognitive reaction to a brand. Like Nike, they did a study back in 2021 where people were actually getting satisfaction when they had Apple. Then they went to Samsung users and they figured out that they didn't have a reaction because they weren't related. And the only reaction Samsung users had was they didn't like Apple. That's the reason. And I find that very interesting how that's how psychology plays an effect in branding. And branding can change the way we think in our daily lives and change our personality. Because at the end of the day, our personality changes us and makes who we are.
Yeah. So here's the dirty little secret, and Michelle will expand on this, I'm sure. But all of this is nothing new. This has been going on since the dawn of human evolution, right? Like we find these ways to tap into these psyches, these psychologies. It's just a matter of getting that finely tuned, laser focused message to the right person. Because if not, it's a shotgun approach, right? It's throwing up a billboard on a highway and hoping that somebody's picking their nose at the right time that they're passing it and their head is up. I mean, that's really what all of these laser focused target marketing efforts provide. The evolution of the technology, however, is really what is exciting, because now you're finding all these various ways in order to target somebody. You're playing that game. All of a sudden you see like a McDonald's store, you pop in, you meet somebody there, you go in and you hear the fry sizzle. You hear you kind of get a sense of what the burger would look like or taste like. All of a sudden you start getting hungry. Your human emotion kicks in. And oh, by the way, there's a button at the bottom where it could be delivered at your door in 2 seconds. You know, you're more than likely to click on it at that moment.
It's the new advancement in technology where everything's going fully remote. My prediction for the next 10 years, as we know grocery stores are in store, brick and mortar is going to get cut down by year by year by year until it's fully taken over by remote. And we have to realize that as a marketing agency or as a marketer or as an investor, you have to realize that, because that's where we're going in the next 10 years. And
I still think there needs to be a complementary balance. There has to be. People want to go out to a restaurant. We saw this during the pandemic, right?
Until old people are dead, you're going to have supermarkets.
Not everything could be a convenient deliver, right? I mean, sometimes you want to get out of your. Sometimes I go to the store just to get out of the damn house because I'm here 14, 16 hours a day. But there has to be a balance. I don't disagree with you that there's a future in it, and I think that remote workplace integration, remote e-commerce, remote access to different products and services are just going to continuously expand. We saw Uber do that. We saw all the delivery services do that. I mean, think about it. Uber single-handedly threatened taxi cabs, right? Then Uber Eats came out and single-handedly threatened all of the Domino's delivery guys that made a career on that. You know, like there's all of these advancements in these types of technologies that are going to continuously evolve, but I still feel there needs to be that in-person presence, because at the end of the day, we're not these cyborgs that live in this virtual realm. We're people. We need that interaction. I
want to make a comment here. That's Sean, it's your comment that there's going to be restaurants, but they just won't have employees. That's a snarky comment, but it's not really that. I agree with you. Like they already have automated arms, if they call them, that you load up with burgers and lettuce and it makes the burger perfectly every time. That exists now. So capitalism I don't know what this looks like for restaurants, but I agree with you, Mike, that the NFT network, if you will, that allows the three of us have been in a room where the person on stage was a Twitch streamer who was up 5 hours a day Twitch streaming, discussing this. So the possibilities are endless for influencer marketing, for Twitch, the platform. Like there's a lot of avenues here.
And a thing that I just thought of when Mike was talking before about going into McDonald's and meeting up with people. So how long before Tinder's in the metaverse?
Well, there's already problems with that, right?
That's a very scary thought.
All right, moving us on to sports real fast.
That's where you led me, Mike. You led me down that path.
Manchester United is issuing NFTs with the most followed football/soccer club in the world, launching an NFT that will blah, blah, blah. So we've seen this with the sports, right? Mike, you know a little bit about this sort of thing, NFTs in sports. Let's get your thoughts around. Is this an anomaly? Is this first of many?
No, I think it was just a matter of time. It was something that was definitely on the horizon, and it will be for all sports, all teams. I think that, again, this is just a tool that they could use to help reach out and offer different benefits and services to their communities and to their sports fans. But I think one of the things that sports teams and players in particular heavily rely on as part of their engagement within communities are charity events. So these NFTs could be utilized as a means to raise money for their charities. They can get very, very creative with that. And again, the benefit is whatever they determine it to be, right? So like I'm a season ticket holder for the Raiders, right? So every third game or whatever, they actually give away NFTs, commemorative NFTs. Now, they may not be worth anything now, but who knows? In the offseason, the marketing team can say, you know what? Let's contact everybody and say, whoever holds this NFT, we're going to have a private function. We're going to have a private event, throw a couple players in, come in, take pictures. We'll give them some hot dogs and, we'll give them a VR set so they can go to Wendy's and, we'll have fun with them that way.
So my roommate from university is a Pearl Jam fan, fanatical, had it tattooed on the side of his leg. And he has bought buttons, pins, you name it, off of their fan websites. People like that, there's a huge amount of people.
He'll be buying NFTs if that's the case, if they make them.
I don't know what the quantitative value of sports memorabilia is, but I would argue that it's definitely top 10 in history.
Dude, let's go to like autographed pictures, right? I mean, when the Devils won the cup against Anaheim, like I paid a lot of money for that photograph of Jason Arnott. So my point is,
and go on, no, go
please,
on. No, go on, no, go on.
He won the school.
I'm a Ranger.
Winning goal.
Sorry,
I know. My point is that people pay big money for sports related because it's back to
a massive industry.
Emotion. It's emotional
because it's a community, isn't it?
It's legacy. That's what it is. How old is Manchester United? That's a Michelle question.
What you have to put in account is, like, when you're younger, usually a lot of people and families resent with one team. So in that marketing perspective, if you have it passed down from generation to generation, as a whole generation, you have family members buying off that team, which gives you that consumer relation, that trust. So like you're a valid customer because you're always buying it and you see your family, and it's an influence. So like, it comes down to influence psychology and how much does the brand actually mean to the consumer. Because at the end of the day, if the consumer doesn't like the brand and they can't relate with it psychology-wise and physically and emotionally, and they don't have that connection, they're not going to go back to that brand. It's that brand trust where they'll pick Nike over Under Armour. When they pick Under Armour over Nike, that's just a brand trust. And at the end of the day, I think that's where a lot of profit comes through, is you have that brand trust.
I think that sports are different.
144 years, Mark.
144 years? Okay, so let's just say that, 60 years, give or take, that's 2 or 3 generations worth of, memories and stories and history that you pass down. So I'm gonna link this to what you said as well as what Joseph said and try to combine them. Sports have to be treated a little differently from Nike. Like, I'm not listening to a story from my grandfather about his Nike shoes from 1902, but I am listening to a story about his experience at a Yankee game where he saw Joe DiMaggio hit a 3-run home run. Like, there's a huge difference there. And I just got chills because I told that story, but
it's amazing.
There's a massive market for that, for the underlying elements of that too. Like, I just saw Ty Cobb's bat sold for something like ridiculous millions of dollars or something. That is a legacy that gets passed down from generation to generation. There's no branding effort that can destroy that at this point. Not on the team like Manchester or the Yankees, maybe the Devils, but
right.
Well, in Australia, the AFL team that my family supports, they're 153 years old or something, and my family has supported them for probably 150 years.
Yep.
Almost the whole time. So it's like, it's in the will. If you don't barrack for Port Adelaide, then you are not in our family. That's just the way it goes.
What happens if you came home and you were wearing the opposing team's jersey, or you introduced John to your family and he comes in wearing the wrong color jersey? In fact, true story. That's exactly how I built a relationship with my father-in-law. I showed up at the house the first day I met him wearing his favorite soccer jersey, and we've been best friends ever since. True story.
When I got married, my father had a certificate that before the wedding certificate was allowed to be signed, my soon-to-be husband had to sign to say that the children would be Port Adelaide supporters.
That's amazing. But you see, like, imagine in a world in today's day and age where instead of that document being signed, it's an NFT. And in the will, that NFT is passed down to your children. Right? Like, now that value is purchased many, many, many years ago. That legacy lives on. There's stories behind that NFT. Maybe that NFT got him access to meet one of the players, and he got a photo on a Polaroid that doesn't exist anymore. Like all of these stories work around the technology. And again, it is a tool. It's a technological tool that taps into the psychology element of it that you can easily purchase, resell, and pass down from generation to generation.
The three key aspects of that. Please, Michelle.
Sorry. And backing onto this, though, I sent you guys the story about Ronaldo's deal with Binance. So the skinny is that he's supposedly being paid £20 million per year for the deal. So interesting thing that the Man U NFT thing comes out. Binance and Ronaldo launched their deal last week. And today it was announced that he's immediately leaving the club. So that's my scandal. I think that it's a competing NFT argument.
I'm going to tell you a quick story, and then I have a question for you. It's about Ronaldo and all these other athletes. I think it was Tiger Woods had his swing analyzed AI, and it was some company was using the data to help create gaming characters with Tiger's swing. And the argument developed in the press, I don't even think it was Tiger Woods, around who owns Tiger Woods' swing, right? If they're making money selling characters that can play like Tiger Woods in the game. So my point is, who owns Ronaldo's talent? Is it Man U or is it him? And I think that's what these NFL. Go ahead.
It's him. Just ask any Portugal fan.
Yeah.
He's done wonders
Real
for
Madrid
Portugal.
fan.
Yeah, it's him.
Yeah,
but I'll translate something that I'm not all too familiar with in soccer and soccer players, and even golf for that matter. But Ken Griffey Jr. had an iconic swing. They made icons about him. They made logos about him. There's different representations of the way that he swung the bat because it was a beautiful swing. Does he own that, or does all the people that are capitalizing off of that own that? I think that begs the question, but I think he actually trademarked the swing. I think he went out and he's like, this is mine. This is what I brought into existence. And I think that's the logo for his cleats and his baseball gloves and all that other stuff. So it's an interesting thought. But these are the digital assets that I think that some of these guys can ultimately turn to capitalize on too. I mean, Ronaldo has like the perfect hair as he does a header 6.5 feet in the air, right? Like he can easily make that an attribute that could be sold as a digital asset to anybody playing a soccer game online.
Yeah, but I think this is my point is this is going to be a legal issue down the road. Like when Michael Jordan can slam dunk from the foul line and the image is iconic and it's owned by the Chicago Bulls. That's where we are. That's the world we live in today.
I don't think it's owned by the Bulls. Jumpman is his.
Who profited from his, fame? Or Ronaldo.
I wouldn't say he's not doing. I would say he's doing pretty damn
Yeah,
well
they're doing
himself.
fine. But what's the split? Like, how much of Ronaldo goes to Ronaldo versus how much Ronaldo goes to Man U and now Binance?
Well,
I don't know.
Okay, let's look at it from a business perspective. First of all, it's an investment, right? They pay a tremendous amount of money for that individual. They have to be able to capitalize that in some capacity. Every time the Yankees sell an Aaron Judge jersey, which may be worth more now, but every time they sell an Aaron Judge jersey, the Yankees make money too. Right? The collective bargaining agreement with the players allows the players to share in that profit. But on the front of that jersey is a Yankees logo. Like, they are using the talent and the success of that player to turn around and sell those jerseys.
So Sean Snyder makes the point, employees is what he puts in the chat. Are these guys employees?
They get paid for a service. I would argue they do, but on the flip side, there is a revenue share platform that's in place that they both can benefit from based on the height, I guess the community acceptance of them as part of that team. Because you're not going to buy a jersey of the second reliever of the Yankees, right? You're going to buy one of the superstar. No. But on the field, the guy is, as an employee, is doing his job, what he's paid to get done.
In the case of people like Messi or Ronaldo or, whatever, all the other ones that I've bought, I've bought various jerseys for my kids from. I mean, ultimately, when they're at a club, then there is a contract with the club, and when the kids bring their parents into the club shop and they buy a jersey with Ronaldo's name on it, or Judd, or whatever, Judge, or anyway, so I was thinking of who's the one that was engaged to J-Lo?
Alex Rodriguez.
A-Rod,
yes, yeah. Rodriguez. See, we liked them. We liked him originally too in the old days. But those, they're allowed to have sponsorship deals that don't conflict with the team's sponsorship deals in their private time and all that. They've still got to wear the jerseys that have the logos and whatever on them, right? But ultimately, as they move from club to club, which someone like Ronaldo has done, he's got his Rolex ads, he's got his energy drink ads, he's got his whatever. And that is Ronaldo Inc. That isn't Real Madrid or, Man U or whoever else that he may play for.
But they are paying
what's
a pretty
happening
penny.
Yes, but what's happening with the Binance thing as well is that they are buying the name Ronaldo.
This is my point. This is not an interesting academic debate. It matters for the NFTs. But
they're not. If you've seen any of the ads or whatever, he's got a Binance soccer jersey on. There is no Man U thing. There's no Portugal. There's no Real Madrid. There's no any other thing but the Binance logo. So it's very much Binance saying, hey, we want you. This is what we're prepared to pay you.
So,
and that said, though, $20 million a year, £20 million a year is nothing compared to what he got paid to play soccer every week.
So here's where I would draw the line and say that who owns his name? Was it him or is it Binance, or who owns what? If he wants to sign with Bayern Munich and Binance says no, and he abides by that, then you're right. He relinquished all ownership to himself and to his play. If he accepts that and Binance has to come on the back end, he's just another sponsored athlete.
But this comes down to Mr. Smart Contract guy. This comes down to what's in the paperwork, right? If he loses his 20 mil because he went with some other outfit.
My point is, I don't think that the deal arranged with Binance, and I didn't read the contract, but does the deal with Binance restrict him from participating in what he does best?
Oh, no, he'll be playing soccer if he gets signed. I mean, he's towards the end of his career. But, I mean, Manchester United paid him £500,000 a week.
Yeah, he puts asses in the seats. He is arguably the best soccer player on the planet, right? There's a lot of great players. I mean, but he has had a tremendous amount of success that somebody like Messi, for example, cannot compare himself to.
Yes, but close. For a while, they were pretty neck and neck. But
they still are to an argumentative extent. They definitely are. And we're going to see a lot of them this month in the World Cup, right? I mean, like, you know, we saw Messi and them blow up. But look, bottom line is, from a marketing perspective, these guys are walking billboards, right?
Yes.
Think about the catastrophe that happened when Ronaldo sat down, saw a can of Coke, and removed it from the podium. Just that simple dust storm that is yet to be settled. And all the guy did was take the Coke can away and put a bottle of water there.
I think they are the product. At the end of the day, if you look at it like from a different perspective, they are the product and they are a walking billboard. But how can you get rules and regulations to make sure their rights are being followed with their branding? And I think that's what you should be focusing on with the branding. How can you authorize and how can you make sure they're getting their right pricing?
So, Joseph, I'm going to say no question that they are the product. I agree with you, my friend. But who owns the product? I don't know either. I'm just posing the question. Like, I'm not arguing.
He who pays the piper calls the tune.
But he could always walk away too. So in the end, he's responsible for his own destiny.
Maybe.
Yeah. So like they usually get a contract when they sign on. Who pays for his contract?
Oh, for sure.
I'm moving us into our last story here. We're gonna. I want to do the education piece, if that's okay with you. Although you guys are welcome to raise as well. Web3 education platform MetaCademy offers the world's first Earn While You Learn crypto course. So basically, this is an online course teaching blockchain smart contracts that is looking to build a virtual campus in Decentraland for live seminars for guest lecturers. Blockchain and NFTs are entering education. That's the point of this story. This is a Brian Piper for sure. But I think that we haven't really seen education impacted by blockchain yet. What are your thoughts
love the fact you said a live campus in Decentraland.
What I'm into a project right now. I can't disclose all of it, but right now, like I think Web3 is going to get mixed in with schooling, because if you look at it, the school system's like it's a big foundation. So there's a lot of things you can do with Web3 with the school system, because of course school is turning mainly remote from COVID-19. And I think there's a lot of room to work with if you're getting in the industry with Web3. Just keep that in mind. I've
given presentations at universities in VR as a VR character.
So
wow,
Sean,
Mike, scary thought.
Sean had mentioned in the chat here that VR will take over the schools without a doubt. That Sean, or at least in the education sector, you're always welcome to join the chat. You know that, Sean. I think that, meaning you want to come on stage, please do. I think that the school system definitely is up for transformation. We agree. But didn't we see that this whole VR concept didn't really work a la Zoom? Compare and contrast for me.
I had a child that I homeschooled for 7 months in Melbourne because we had the longest lockdowns in the world. And it was a complete nightmare. So for kids who can't have headphones on all day and have other people talking and cross whatever and, you know, all of that stuff, it was terrible. And the social aspects of them running around in the yard at lunchtime and playing soccer or playing football or playing, you know, tennis or whatever, they don't get that. And the metaverse can't replace that.
You're 100% right. And I don't know what it's like over there, but here our education took a complete backwards turn since they shifted in that direction. You know, kids' retention level is way down. The ability to keep and obtain information to move on to the next level, prerequisites are out the window. It has been a colossal setback in the formatting on trying to jump headfirst into that. Now, look, it was thrown upon a lot of people. I think it was a lot of pressure on parents too, especially ones that were trying to work from home and trying to keep an eye on their kid to make sure that they're on a Zoom call in class properly. You know, I can't attest to that at this stage, but look, it can't replace all of this in real life experience, right? It's just an additional tool to help complement it. And if we can go in VR in a classroom and we can dive down a volcano in VR and understand what we're learning, that's a great use case tool for it, right?
Yes.
It's like the magic school bus in real life. But, you know, the educational component of the metaverse is still an essential piece of this whole industry, people need to understand what it is, what the technology is, how it differs from what's out there, and more importantly, what opportunities are out there that they can use not only in their business life, in their personal life, but how to expand on the education therefore after.
I'm going to raise
sure.
the prospect of realistically, there's huge entrenched money interests in this current school setup. And I don't want to get political. I'm just saying that it's going to be it's easy to say that the technology enables a better way. We all agree. But the reality of life is going to be NFTs coming in and changing how the structure of schooling actually happens. It's going to take a lot longer than I think people expect. Am I being pessimistic?
You said NFTs?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you've got a metaverse.
I don't know.
If you've got
metaverse, yes.
Not in the commercial sense of NFTs, Mike. I'm talking NFTs where so this one in particular, and I'm referencing this education article, you get NFTs for taking their courses. And these NFTs entitle you to things down the road, such as you can be a guest lecturer. So I don't want to get into that.
System. It's a reward system that you earn just like
system.
you would get based on a grade or a
Like
certificate.
a gold star.
Yeah, it's a new gold
Get
star.
an NFT.
I'm in a project right now where we're creating a reward system also. He's creating his own coin, and we're basically developing, if like, you know how when you walk in a classroom, the development stages, if you attend school, you get a free lunch. That's where the coin is, and I think that's where the conversion rate starts to come in. Okay, so you have this big marketing scheme where you're trying to get this reward system or get people to see your courses. What do they see value in that? How do you see the value, and what's the point of you doing it? Because I could see if you like it doing it in school, but what are you getting out of it doing in school? Are you looking for money, or are you looking to solve a problem or solution, or are you trying to help out the school? Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a school. We're trying to build, with the money we earn, we're trying to build more schools. That's our thing. So what are they doing? I don't know really much about the coin, but what are they doing, and what are they profiting off of, and why are they doing it? I should ask.
I don't
Mike,
think it
you
needs
raised
to
a
go
good
beyond
question.
that. Yeah, I don't think it needs to go beyond that. I think the educational component, being educated on the technology that's now available, that should be the purpose of school. Being accustomed, like when I was in school and I saw that computer sitting in the corner, like this is way back in the day, I didn't have one at home. I was excited to go to school and learn what the hell a computer could do. You know, like, what are you talking about? I don't have to like know how to do long division anymore. All I have to do is pull up the calculator. Like, this is new information that I was super excited to understand and learn. And frankly, I feel like school has kind of gotten away from that, and they've moved away into the technology as more of the cornerstone of how to apply the education, and forgot about the education, which is why we're in the predicament we're in.
What's the purpose of the education, Mike? You raised this already.
To stay ahead of the curve.
So we would expect that, right? I would hope that'd be the case. Seth Godin has a great TED Talk on this, but the point is, whether we agree or not, the current usage of the school system is to get jobs.
Correct.
There's a tacit understanding that if I send my kid to the best college, he'll get a job or she'll get a job and she's going to make a lot of money. But
Correct.
That social compact is broken. I think we can all agree on that. So
well, I think it used to be a double-pronged approach, right? Yes, I'm going to go out into the marketplace. I'm going to make money. I'm going to have a good career, but I'm also going to be giving something back to society, right? I'm going to help advance society in whatever capacity of education and skill set I bring to the table based around my education. I'm going to take my education. I'm going to combine that with my whatever years of experience, and I'm going to offer something in the form of a career that I can ultimately learn and teach and pass on to other people that are up and coming in the same industry. It became a cycle and a snowball that moved down the hill. And I don't think we've kind of sheared away from that whole concept. I just feel that the use case of the technology as a replacement value for what that offers at the end game has kind of gone by the wayside, and we can see some of the ramifications of that with the kids that are coming up now. It's only been 2 years, and there's been a colossal jump off a cliff here.
Yep.
So I think that one of the things that something like the metaverse, when you were talking before, Mike, about, you know, diving into a volcano or whatever, you could have kids walk through history, you know, when they're doing the Russian Revolution or the Tudors or like whatever, you know, American Revolution, then they're going, you know, they could be walking through things, you know, they could go to Salem to watch the witch hunts trial, you know, those sorts of things are really exciting ways in which the metaverse can be used, but as you said, in an actual school setting, so they still get the social aspects and stuff. But one of the things I just thought of when we were talking then was also ways in which to help children that have learning difficulties. So if they're having a difficulty with either hearing or seeing, or they can't do numbers properly, or they can't read properly, etc., then I think that there's an opportunity to tailor their learning program for them using this type of technology. And I think that companies that can look at that and start to develop that and use that will
think of
be
your own
successful.
education experience. And I try to use my own experience in everything that I try to understand, right? Because it's the only way that I can relate to it. The best professors, the best teachers I've ever had in my entire career, not just in school, but even in the workplace, people that are teaching me new things in the workplace, they always find a way to bridge the gap with something I already know, right? They don't just throw something new at me. I've had teachers like that, and it's like, whoa, you're speaking a whole new language. I don't know what you're saying. But the ones that can relate to you, figure out a way to interact with what they're trying to explain with what you already know. That's what makes the education process so beneficial. So similar concept, right? If a kid's having difficulty reading, but yet they can retain something visual, to your point, you can have a program, maybe in Meta Academy, that they can put on some goggles, they can sign into some sort of a VR platform, and they will be introduced to a constructive visual education process that teaches them how to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. All right, I'm going to start to wrap us up here. We're going to do one last round of comments, and then I will give us a summary of some of the things that I've learned today. I've been taking some notes. So we'll start with you, Michelle. Any other last-minute notes, things you want to raise, things you'd like to discuss?
No, I just think that it's interesting that, we've got all of the FTX stuff still going on and the bad press it's got and whatever, but behind the scenes, there are companies that are and have understood that it is the way of the future, and they're still pressing on regardless of what many would call a setback in the last couple of weeks.
Mike?
I mean, I don't want to belabor the fact that it is a black eye on everything that's been built so far, but it definitely is not the definition of the industry. And I think we need to sit here and realize that too. But, final point that I wanted to make before we parted, and I know we touched on this a little bit at the beginning, but we have taken the Unfantasy Football League and we have expanded it to a playoff format starting in week 14.
Oh, no way.
That whole construct in the league. We're super excited about it. It's kind of an elimination bracket in a head-to-head format. But we've taken this to the next level. We have so many cool ideas. We're introducing a wild card into the entire NFT construct. So anybody who has, a specific playing card or a specific owner's pass will get access to a wild card. They'll be able to import that team. It just really shows the evolution of a project and the ability to pivot with wherever the timeline is in that project, right? So football is getting into the latter stages of the year. Thanksgiving Day is usually like kind of a milestone where teams are either not going to make the playoffs or they're going to make the playoffs. We've kind of taken that same approach and applied it to this league, applied everything on chain. Super excited about it, man. We got a lot of great stories and use cases that we can expand on from this project.
Congratulations, Mike. That's actually pretty awesome. I'd love to hear
That's
that.
Well done.
Thank you.
Joseph, last commentaries, thoughts, insights, anything you want to share?
I'm good. It's a pleasure being on. I love what you guys talk about. It's like even you guys have really good points and ideas, and I really appreciate. I'll be here every time.
Cool, man. Appreciate it.
Mike and Michelle have good ideas.
Mark
thanks for
sends them
joining
to
us,
us
Joseph.
5 minutes before.
It's great. It's great having you, really. So this is my takeaway from our conversation today. First of all, we've seen this thing spread. Web3 is now going on the company level. You've got Sony, Disney, McDonald's, all of whom have filed for patents inside the Web3 world. You've got the sports world, Manchester United, one of many teams that's now issuing NFTs and sports collectibles for the fans. And you've got the education space with Meta Academy and other companies that are starting to figure out how do we use both NFTs and a metaverse approach in the education world. So this, to your point, Mike and Michelle, we continue to see Web3 developing. This isn't just the black eye on crypto, as the reference people say, but I don't think it is at all. I think that Web3 is unrelated in that regard. It's a business
Yeah.
And it's
tool.
proof that it's here to stay, right? Like if it can weather these types of storms and if it can continuously stand on its own two legs, and the people that are using the space for good can continuously build off of it and thrive off of it, I think that it shows that this technology is in a good place to thrive and to survive these things.
So the one
Yeah,
last point I'll
agree
make,
with
there was the triumvirate of when NFTs are most powerful, in my opinion, and that was buyer psychology, emotion, and community. When those three overlap in any way in a concentric circle, NFTs have a huge place. That's what I've seen so far, and as an observer.
Yeah, I'll add one comment
Agree
to
with
that. So, very common question we all get all the time is, what the hell is an NFT? Right? I think we need to start answering the question with something specific, like an NFT is, to what an NFT could be. And this is a John Briggs quote, right? Like, what can an NFT become is really what you determine it to be. And I think that if that's a mindset that we start understanding, we really truly understand the use case that this is a tool that we can incorporate in whatever we're doing: business, personal, art projects, gaming projects, delivery service in the metaverse, whatever it is, it's a tool. And if we can adopt to the fact that it can be anything, the options are really endless. And that's what excites me and keeps me going, that the technology is here to stay.
Yeah, that's great. So I want to thank you, Joseph, for sticking around with us as long as you have. I know you're in the States, so I wish you happy Thanksgiving, my friend.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
You as well, Mike. Michelle, I'd wish it to you, but I know that was in October for you guys, I think. No, that was
It's my dad's birthday tomorrow, so it's on Thanksgiving, so that's something.
There you go. But very thankful to be a part of this with you guys. So glad we had an opportunity to meet and keep this relationship going from Phoenix. I look forward to this every week. I really do.
Good. Me too. It's good seeing everybody. We'll catch you next week, but until then, I guess hang tight. We'll look for the news and keep some things in mind. If you want to talk about next week, raise them. All right, guys.
Thanks. See you later.
Peace.
Bye.
Take care.